Can you actually believe it's been a whopping 7 years since we've seen a full Gundam series, and now finally is the time we're getting a brand new one, which of course is Mobile Suit Gundam the Witch from Mercury. And a new series always means a new line of gunpla. We've already seen the absolutely astounding high-grade Gundam Rubris, the awesome Beggar Boo, but finally here it is, the high grade of the main mobile suit, the high-grade Gundam Aerial. Now this is a model kit right here that has some big Gundam boots to fill because the high-grade Gundam Rubris was absolutely mind-blowing. I love that kit, it built up perfectly, it was essentially a perfect high grade. Well, good news, this is just as good in a lot of ways, better in some ways, and only a little bit not as good in a different way. The hips. But besides that, this is a ridiculously beautiful kit. It looks astounding, and if you do want one of your own, I got mine through HobbyLink Japan, so if you want some gunpla, link is down there in the description. I'll also mention there's a ton of pre-orders out now for the next batch of kits that will be coming out, so don't miss out on those. Also, link down there in the description. Now let's wind on back to how this thing was built. So when it does come to the high-grade G-Witch line, I have to say I absolutely adore the beautiful box art. This one in particular is absolutely fantastic. There's a whole bunch of information around the sides of the box as usual, letting you know what's going to be inside of this. And when you do get this cracked open, we've got 4 main runners, that is a multicolored grey, 2 whites, a small clear runner, a small green runner, and a runner of effects. We also do have a sticker sheet in here, which at first does look incredibly heavy on the stickers, but in the end turns out to be not that bad. A lot of these go in underneath the clear parts on this kit, and the only real color correcting stickers that we have in here are for using on the weapons, so the mobile suit itself goes relatively unscathed. We do have a couple of black ones for using up on the shoulders. Well, this is kind of an option as opposed to black. You can go with the black or you can go with the colored ones. This of course is an option to show it as it is standing naturally, or when it's using the gun bit system when the gun format reaches a certain level. I went with the black on here just because it was a little more subtle. As for the actual build of this kit, this is phenomenal. Whether you're a veteran builder or an absolute newbie, this will be a whole lot of fun. It's easy to cut out, clean up, it's almost got a full inner frame, which is ridiculous for a high grade, and this thing is an absolute joy to snap together. This definitely is high-grade Gundam technology at its finest. One of the nicest aspects about this kit is we've got a lot more shell unit than we would have seen with the Gundam Rubris. So we've got some of the legs, which you have to stick some stickers in underneath, can be a little bit difficult. You have a choice of the activated version or the black version, which is I guess not activated. We've got more clear parts with stickers in the backpack as well as up on the front of the chest, where once again we do have a choice between using stickers and clear parts or using the pre-molded parts that come on the runner. I don't know why you would never use these pre-molded parts, but these look phenomenal. They catch the light absolutely beautifully, which we'll see later on. So yeah, just to conclude, once again, this is simple enough for beginners, amazing enough for veterans, and what can I say? When it snaps together, it looks incredible. Now on to the aesthetics. So now jumping into the aesthetics now, I will mention straight away, I did put some extra work into this kit just because I love it so much. What I did was I actually built it up normally, panel lined it with some panel lining markers, and then hit it with some decals and some top coat. But before I talk about that, let's talk about what it looks like if you just built it out of box using a nipper. So there's the full 360 spin of what the high-grade Gundam Aerial looks like straight built, and once again this still looks phenomenal even without putting any effort in. I will mention inside of the head we do have color separated eyes like we would have seen with the Rubris. I've actually used the included stickers because it makes the eyes pop a lot more, and the same goes with the camera on the back of the head. So this is a kit, at least the body, that could be built with 0 stickers if you wanted to. They just really enhance it as opposed to correct something. The amount of surface detail on this kit is ridiculous. The parts combine both a lot of nice molding on singular parts as well as some nice part layering. The torso itself is absolutely ridiculous. The way they've actually melded the Gundam colors into the very complex design means it's an absolute feast for the eyes. The way the white layers onto the blue, onto the yellow, and we've got the shell unit too. This thing looks incredible. Every angle of this kit looks even better than I would expect it to. And I was expecting a lot. But yeah, I love this kit so much, and this happens to me all the time, that I just had to put some extra effort into it. So like what I said I did with this is, I grabbed some of the flow type panel liners. These you just literally just rest against the different crevices and lines in the kit, they will fill it in, just in case you don't know what they do, and then you just wipe off the excess. The job is essentially done for you. Next up then, I did add some water slide decals onto this. The ones I used were intended for the real grade Zeong, but because the real grade Zeong comes with stickers in the box, I had used those, so I can't use the decals anymore, so I used the decals on this. I just used 16 of them in order to just enhance some of the areas, add a little bit of extra detail, and they look pretty damn good. Finally then, just to protect the decals and give it that matte look that I absolutely love and adore on kits, I hit it with some Mr. Hobby Flat Matte Top Coat. Now all of this stuff that I did use in order to get this from here all the way to here, I will link in the description in one way or another so you can see what they are and try them out yourself if you want to. All in all, building this kit and finishing off like this took me about a single day. Besides letting the top coat cure, that is what you can get. So finally there is a full 360 spin of what this looks like with a little bit of extra effort. These are just some basic steps, and it really does enhance the overall kit. I did not spray the gun bit system on the chest with the flat matte in order to keep it, well, shiny and lustery. And on the whole, what can I say? I am absolutely in love with this kit right here. The whole chest segment there kind of looks like a face. You've got some shiny eyes inside of those, which are stickers. The venting on the knees and around back just looks so good, especially the vents on the Gundam butt back there. The way the yellow is sandwiched within some grey into the white armor just looks incredible, and honestly, this looks so good. If you're wondering if there's any color and accuracy issues with this kit, the backs of the heels around to the bottom of the feet, which is more of that venting, that is meant to be in grey, not the color we're seeing right here. So if you need to paint something, that might be it. Anyway, let's check out what else comes in the box. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's absolutely everything that comes inside of the box, and that is your typical Gundam loadout of swords, board, and beam rifle. The swords being a pair of beam sabers, the board being that ridiculous escutcheon made out of the gunned bits, and the beam rifle is a beam rifle with an effect part for using with it. Let's check them all out. So first up, when it comes to the hands in here, I guess this is the most disappointing aspect of the kit. All we have is a typical pair of holding hands, and that is it. There is no other options in here, so you're always stuck using these. However, I will mention that's not the worst news ever, because with the upcoming booster kit, there are some included widespread hands for using with this kit as well, so if you want some, they are an option, but sold separately. So the first of the weapons we have in here is the beam sabers. What the instruction says is, these are weapons for close quarters combat that generate beam blades in conjunction with the sensors on the grips. When it comes to the actual model kit right here, these are your standard beam blades. These are flat in the Gundam Age or Gundam 00 style. These do have standard blue beam blades, so these do not actually glow under blacklight or anything like that. They're quite plain. To attach them, you just pop the handles into the hands just like so, simple as that right there. When they're not in use, you can pop out the beams and store them around on the backpack just like so. And answering the important questions, yes, the Gundam can actually reach around and grab them, which to me is super important. So next up, moving on to the ranged weapon, and that is the beam rifle. The instructions here says that this is a portable weapon for aerial. Bit staves can be attached to make it a powerful long barrel weapon with enhanced output and accuracy. So what we have right here is the standard version of it without anything attached. This is very nicely detailed, but I will mention it's only made out of 2 pieces of plastic sandwiched together. The sight you're seeing in there, that is a sticker, that lighter grey segment. Attaching it into the hand is similar to the beam sabers, except you do need to open up the back of the hand in order to attach this in, and that right there is what it looks like attached. Nice and strong, held perfectly, not gonna go anywhere. When this is not in use, you can detach it and reattach this around back. Now you do need to use a bit of an adapter, which is this one right here. It plugs into the back of the backpack just like so, and then you can attach the beam rifle onto that for storage around on the back. This rifle can also generate a big beam blade, so we can pop this nice vigorous effect part on like so, very similar to what we saw with the Rubris, a little longer, a little more over the top, and that is what it looks like attached. Pretty cool. So now jumping into what is technically the main event when it comes to the equipment in here, and that is the shield known as the escutcheon. This is a multi-purpose offensive and defensive platform employing gun bit, a next-generation remote-controlled swarm weapon system that uses gun format to organically link humans and mobile suits. Each of the bit staves can be detached to be used as mobile turrets with built-in beam cannons or as shields. So first off, this right here is what it looks like as a shield. This looks absolutely fantastic. I will mention there are 2 stickers on this, but they're not the worst. First of which is this blue one right here, which mildly does not match the color of plastic on here. May or may not bother some, you could paint it if you wanted to. And this white segment up further, which actually doesn't look too bad at all. So when it comes to stickers, not the worst. Attaching this onto the arm is super simple, it just attaches onto the whole of the arm just like so, and we do have multiple 3mm holes in this kit. That is up on the backpack where the rifle is. Well, I guess we have technically 4 if you include both arms as 2 different holes, which they are, so that's 4 holes, and we got 1 in the butt too. So when it's not being used as a shield, you're actually able to split this apart into a whole bunch of different bit staves. Now, we'll mention before I actually bypass it entirely, you can actually use these as a bunch of individual aspects, but there is no actual stand attachment parts for these as yet. There are stands coming out in future for using with this and the Gundam Rubris and the full mechanics version of this particular kit, but it's not available as of right now. But what you can do with all of these is attach them onto the body of the Gundam Aerial for the bit-on form. Basically, it says in the instructions that the bit staves can attach the hardpoints throughout the mobile suit to quickly recharge their own power and propellant fuel, while enhancing the mobility and defensive abilities of Aerial. Now, I have to say, this actually works out so much cooler than I thought it would. It adds a lot of nice bulk, especially up on the shoulders. We've got some on the rear of the forearms, and we've got these extra parts round back on the rear skirting armor. This works out so well. We also have some, I guess, by proxy, side skirts on the sides of the legs too. This is really nice. Finally then, we do have extra parts on the front of the beam rifle for making this into the long barrel weapon variant, and this looks great as well. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. However, I will mention we do have this little bit left over that has no purpose once the shield has been disassembled, so I guess you just grab this and fuck it away. So finally now moving on to the articulation, and just like we would have seen with the last release, or should I say the last release, which was the Gundam Rubris, this is solid as a rock. There is no polycaps or anything like that. It's a plastic on plastic, solid build. So starting at the neck, we've got a double jointed giggity goo. The upper joint is a ball joint. You can move the head around all the ways that a ball joint can, so that is up and down, left and right. We've got a horizontally attached ball joint then in the neck, attaching into the rear. This only gives you a bit of side to side and forward and back, and when it comes to the actual combination here, it is quite nice, but there isn't much in the lines of looking upwards. So if you want some nice flying forward or flying upwards poses, you're not going to get them here. At the shoulder, we do have a little segmented part that is attached via a ball joint in the actual torso itself, giving us a little bit of movement towards the front. As for the actual shoulder joint, this is a ball joint, so you've got the full shoulder roll. When it comes to raising the arm all the way up, we do have a separate moving shoulder piece of armor, which gets that out of the way. There's the arm all the way up, and finally there's the full 360-degree spin. So now moving on to the arm, and we've got the full 360-degree bicep swivel up top. When it comes to the bend at the elbow, it doesn't go all the way, it's just a little beyond the 90-degree mark, but not too bad. And when it comes to the wrist, this is your standard ball joint with flexion, extension, and the full 360 spin. When it comes to the ab crunch, it's a very small one, forward and back just like so, quite blocked. We've got the full 360-degree spin at the torso right there. And finally, we do have a little bit of a side-to-side crunch. Now, with the Rubris, I thought we had a little more than this, and we do have a little more when it comes to the actual forward and back crunch, but it seems like it's pretty much the same here. I guess my memory thought it was a little better than it was. So compared to the Rubris, we actually do have some skirting armor on this particular kit. The front skirting can move up and down like so. This is attached on the runner. You can snip them in half so you can move them independently like so. We do have a side skirting as well. This is just some up and down hinge action right here. When it comes to the kicks, this is a standard peg in hold. There is no dropping mechanism or anything like that. There's the full kick up to the front. It does clash a little bit with the front skirting armor, so that will get in the way a little bit if you want to kick all the way directly up to the front. There it is all the way out to the back, so not too bad before it clashes with the waist armor. And as for the splits, there it is, not too bad, but not the whole way up. So the biggest departure to the Rubris right here is the fact that we have this kind of joint. I'm not sure what they were thinking. First off, just in case you've forgotten, here is the Rubris. It had a segmented part right here, so you got the full spin at the upper leg right here, so it would go all the way around if you wanted it to. This design right here is incredibly old school. This can only move so much to the front, so much to the back, and then it is blocked. So basically this bit of armor around here does not rotate at all. This is actually just part of the upper leg. Very old school. That does mean you do get very limited rotation around here. So when it comes to like kicking the leg up, if you wanted to bring it back, it does get blocked in some poses, especially in close to the body. So this does kind of remove some posing potential. At the knee then, there is the full knee bend. That's not too bad. Not crazy over the top, but it is not too bad. I expected some of the internal stuff there to actually move while the knee bends, but it does not. The kneecap segment, that does not move either. When it comes to the ankle then, we've got a pivot all the way down just like so and back up again. This is a C-clip joint. The armor section on the front there, it doesn't really move around too much. And when it comes to the actual toes, we've got a ball joint up front, which means we have a lot of motion to the toes on this, including a side-to-side, almost somewhat limited pivot side to side. And then when it comes to the heel, that can rotate all the way around the full 360 on an actual peg. So if we do slap this on the ground for the functional movement test, there it is all the way out to the front without taking the toe off the ground. There it is then all the way to the back. So that is definitely impressive. And as for the side-to-side pivot, there is what we can get all the way to one side, once again without the toe coming off the ground. And finally, there is to the other side. So pivot is not bad, but not great. The rest is awesome. So now throwing it into the pose I usually do to test the articulation, and for the most part, this is extremely good. I did get the foot popping off. If you hyperextend that upwards, the C-clip does let go, which does mean over time that might actually wear out a bit and kind of get a bit loose on you. It may not sure yet. But besides that, this is rock solid. You'll get the poses that you want for the most part, but it is annoying to have that limited upper leg swivel, so you can't actually kick the leg out any further. And there is some limitations here and there, just like the ab crunch, the neck not being able to look upwards. So in a way, I guess the articulation is mildly disappointing, but you will get most decent poses out of it. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this to me is a platinum tier kit, so pretty much as good as Gunpla gets. Now just jumping through the aspects one more time. First off, when it comes to the aesthetics, this looks absolutely phenomenal. Out of box, it does look exceptionally good. We do have a couple of color correcting stickers up on the shoulders. You could leave these off and panel line it, you wouldn't even notice the difference. And we're missing a little bit of color on the back of the heels. Otherwise, it looks astounding. The shell units look amazing, the colors look phenomenal, and the detail on here is out of this world. When it comes to the accessories in here, these are fantastic. The only real down point is we do have a little bit of an adapter segment for using with the escutcheon shield, but besides that, everything works perfect. Standard beam sabers, nice beam rifle with add-on parts, and that escutcheon shield looks great, separates out, and can be used as additional armor with the bit-on form. Awesome. Finally then, when it does come to the articulation on this, it's not as great as I was hoping it would be. It's a little bit of a downgrade compared to the Rubris, which I gave Gundarium tier 2, and that is the reason, that and a couple of extra stickers and color inaccuracies on this, that it's just not quite as high to me as the Gundam Rubris was. It's still an absolutely stellar kit, absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. If you can get one, get one. It will blow your mind. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to Hobby Link Japan for sponsoring this video, link in the description. As always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, this video and every video would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches my videos. And special thanks to those of you who are supporting me over on Patreon and on the channel members, including Caleb Engelhart, Global Frequency Studios, Go Little Rockstar, Gunpla UK Limited, Joe, Kill Me Inc., Lawrence Seahack, RG59061, and Van Fawn.